Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This is me, Atiq Ahmed. Today we are going to study two important organelles, ribosomes and plastids. We will start from ribosomes. Ribosomes are tiny granules involved in protein synthesis. They are tiny granules. Tiny means very small. Granules in biology, anything which is very small, just like grains, so that structure is called granular. So ribosomes are tiny granular structures which are involved in protein synthesis. Ribosome is called protein synthetic machinery because it synthesizes proteins for the cell. Now ribosome itself are formed in the nucleolus. Now nucleolus is a small structure which is found inside the nucleus. Nucleolus is an organelle within organelle because nucleus is itself an organelle and nucleolus is a small structure, a small organelle which is found inside the nucleus. So that's why it is called organelle within organelle. So ribosomes are basically synthesized by the nucleolus which is found inside the nucleus. Now ribosomes are found in two states, in two areas. Either they will be freely dispersed in the cytoplasm of the cell, or they will be attached with the RER, rough endoplasmic reticulum, which we have already studied. Diagrammatically it is shown here. This is ribosome. This is ribosome. This is the whole structure of ribosome. We will discuss later that it consists of two subunits, the large subunit and the small subunit. Ribosome is made of two subunits. One is large subunit and the other is the small subunit. Now this is the whole structure of the ribosome. We will move towards the teaching points. Ribosomes are made of equal amounts of proteins and ribosomal RNA. As we have already studied that ribosomes are basically synthesized by the nucleus. It is made by the nucleolus, and nucleolus is found inside the nucleus. Now its composition is that it is made of equal amount of proteins and ribosomal RNA. Ribosome contain 50% proteins and 50% ribosomal RNA. Now another interesting point that is that ribosomes are not covered by any membrane. That's why they are called membraneless organelles. Remember this point for MCQ. The only organelle which is found both in prokaryotic cell as well as in eukaryotic cell, that is the ribosome. And it is membraneless organelle because it is not covered by any membrane. Now the rest of the organelles, some of them we have studied, some we will study later. All of them will be covered either by one membrane or double membrane. Some organelles are covered by just one membrane, for example endoplasmic reticulum, for example Golgi apparatus, etc., etc. But there are some organelles which are covered by double membranes, for example chloroplast, for example nucleus, for example mitochondria. They are covered by double membrane. But still there is one organelle which is found in both eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells, and that is not covered by any membrane, and that organelle is the ribosome. It is known as membraneless organelle. It is found in prokaryotic cell. Why? Because protein synthesis is essential for the cell, and proteins are synthesized or made, in other words they are made in both prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. So in prokaryotic cells there is only organelle, the single organelle, and that is the ribosome, and that is a membraneless organelle. There is no membrane cover around it. Though we all know that prokaryotic cell lack membrane bounded organelles, But the only organelle which is membrane-less organelle, that is ribosome, which is found in the prokaryotic cell too. Now the eukaryotic ribosome, that is slightly larger than the prokaryotic ribosome. The eukaryotic cell contain the ribosome which is slightly larger in size as compared to the prokaryotic ribosomes. Now we have already observed there in the diagram that ribosome consists of two subunits, the larger subunits and the smaller subunit. So the two subunit here, the larger subunit and the small subunit of ribosome. Now we will move towards the the second important organelle which we are going to study today, the plastids. This is another organelle which is very important, and we will highlight it. Plastids. Now plastids are membrane bound organelles. Why membrane bound? Because they are covered by double membrane. So they are membrane bound organelles. And another important features of these plastids are that they contain one or more pigments. Now what are pigments? Pigments are coloring molecules which give color to that particular organelle or that particular structure in which they are found. Now let's take some example of pigments. For example, chlorophyll, which is found in the chloroplast, which is one of the type of these plastids, the chloroplast. We will study later here. So chlorophyll is found in the chloroplast and it is green color pigment. Similarly, melanin, our skin. Melanin is a pigment which is found in our skin, in human skin, and that is brown color pigment. So we were talking about plastids, that plastids are membrane bound organelles. They have proper double membranes and they contain one or more pigments coloring molecules. Pigments means coloring molecules. Now plastids are only found in plants, photosynthetic protists. They are not found in fungi, they are not found in animals, but they are only found in plants and photosynthetic protists. Now remember, we have studied that there are three types of protists: animal-like protists, plant-like protists, and fungi-like protists. You people may remember that. So those protists which are plant-like protists, they have photosynthetic pigments, they have proper plastids, and they are capable of synthesizing their food through photosynthesis. So those are called photosynthetic protists. So the plastids are only found in plants and photosynthetic protists. Photosynthetic protists means the plant-like protists. Now plastids are of three types: chloroplast, chromoplast, and leucoplast. There are the three types of plastids. We will start from the chloroplast. Chloroplasts are found in the leaves of the plants where photosynthesis takes place. Now chloroplasts are found in the leaves and as well as in the green stems. In the small plants, the stem is usually green and that contain basically the chloroplast. And photosynthesis takes place inside the chloroplast. It is covered by two membranes. It is a double membrane structure. The chloroplast is a double membrane structure. It is covered by two membranes. The outer membrane is smooth while the inner membrane gives rise to sacs called thylakoids. So diagrammatically we will observe this diagram. This is chloroplast. This is basically chloroplast. Now it is covered by two membranes. This is the outer membrane of the chloroplast. This is the inner membrane of the chloroplast. This inner membrane form these small sacs. These are sacs. These are sacs. These are sacs. These sacs are called thylakoids. Sacs in Urdu means theli. So they form small coins. Small coins, just like coins, small coins. These are small coins. These are called thylakoids. When many thylakoids combine together, usually up to 50 thylakoids, so they form a structure which is known as granum. This whole structure is called granum, and this one coin-like structure, this is called thylakoid. This one coin-like structure, this is called thylakoid. Now there are several thylakoids, one above the other. 1, 2, similarly 3, 4, 5, 6. So similarly this structure, which consists of several coins, one above the other. So this structure is known as granum, and its plural is grana. Its plural is grana. So it is just like a stake. Stake means gatta, or in other words, dare. So when several thylakoids, several coins, one above the other, they form a structure which is known as granum. We will move back. So the outer membrane is smooth, while the inner membrane give rise to sacs called thylakoids. We have already studied. Now the stake of thylakoids, stake we have already studied that it means dare or gatta. Of thylakoid is known as granum. The thylakoid is basically the important structure. These small coins, these thylakoids, these are just coin-like structures. So these small thylakoids, they basically contain the photosynthetic pigment which is known as chlorophyll. And chlorophyll basically absorbs the sunlight, and that sunlight is basically used in the process of photosynthesis. So basically these thylakoids are important because they contain the chlorophyll pigment, and they absorb the sunlight which is used in the process of photosynthesis. So in chloroplast the photosynthesis process takes place. Now the semi-fluid inside the chloroplast is called stroma. Now diagrammatically these are granum. These are granum. These granum consist of these thylakoids, 1, 2, 3, and below there will be several other up to 50 thylakoids. 50 thylakoids combined, they are known as granum. Now in between these granum there is a fluid. Here will be fluid, here in between will be fluid, here in between will be fluid, in between there will be fluid. That fluid is known as stroma. Here it is written stroma. So the semi-fluid which is present inside the chloroplast, and that is in between the granum, that is called the stroma. Now the second type of plast, that is chromoplast. Chromoplast give other colors to the plants like red, yellow, brown, purplish, etc., etc. These chromoplasts are found in petals of flowers and in ripened fruits. Now you people have observed that when the fruit ripens, so it becomes either brownish or reddish in color. So that is due to the presence of the second types of pigments and the organelles which are called chromoplasts. Similarly, the various colors of the flowers. There are red color flowers, there are brown color flowers, there are yellow color flowers, purple color flowers. These all are due to these chromoplasts because they contain different colors, and due to which there are different colors of the flowers. Now these flowers, these bright colorful flowers attract various insects for pollination purpose. Now how this happen? Now whenever these flowers attract insects, the insects basically take nectar, juice from the flower, and whenever they move back from the flower, so the pollen grains are stuck with their body. So whenever this insect move to another flower, so it will carry these pollen grains, and these will be transferred to the stigma of another flower. So in this way pollination takes place. Pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from one flower to another flower. So this pollination process, this is assisted by, this is facilitated by these insects. The third type of chloroplast, that is the leucoplast. Leucoplasts are colorless plastids. These are colorless plastids. This is the third type of the plastids, and they are found in such part of the plants where storage occurs. They don't have any color. They are colorless plastids. They are found in the roots and the tubers of the plants where food is stored. For example, radish. Similarly, for example, the potato. These are called tubers, the underground part. So these underground parts as well as in the roots. Tubers are the underground parts as well as the various roots. They basically contain the leucoplasts, which are colorless plastids, and where storage of food occurs. And you people have studied, you people may remember that in plants the food is stored in the form of starch. So food is stored in the form of starch in the roots and tubers, and that is stored inside the leucoplasts which are found there. This is enough for today. Inshallah, next time see you with a new lecture. Take care. Allah Hafiz.